Hey, what's up, guys? I'm actually in the middle of working on a game plan sharpshooter that's turning out to be a little bit of a nightmare. First and foremost, when I got it, it did have a couple zeros on the display. Few and far between. Each display might have had one and like a half a zero, so obviously something was wrong with the MPU. Opened it up, and there was a battery on there on the MPU board, which I have over here on my test bench right now. Which, it had a tiny bit of leakage around it. Didn't hit any of the components, really. Clean that up, put a memory capacitor on it. My next step was to go over here to the power supply. And it was not getting proper voltages out of it. So first thing I did was change out that cap right there. Put a 10,000 UF 25 volt in. And now all my voltages are perfect. Now, when I went ahead and I plugged it in, first of all, you could barely see the test LED that's on the game plan MPU. It was on, it didn't flash at all. It came on solid, very, very dim. So we started doing some research, which there's not a ton of info out there on these game plan MPUs. I mean, there is some. What my research had told me is could be the reset circuit, could be the CPU. So what I went ahead and did is I changed out the 82, I believe it's an 8255, if I'm correct on that. Yes, it's an 8255. So I changed the 8255 PIA out. I resocketed it, as you can see. I changed out the CPU, the Z80 CPU, the Z80 CTC, and the 6810. I'm being told that maybe my next step should be to change out these ROMs, these older black ROMs, for I believe it's 2716 style ROM. These older ROMs they don't really make anymore, and they're more difficult to work with than the newer style. I don't really think that's the problem, to be honest with you, but in the meantime, I'm kind of troubleshooting everything else. A lot of these caps were coming apart, falling off the board, so I've been messing with those, putting those back on the board. Here's my memory cap that I had put on. I had ordered some more of these. They're like 0.01 UF 25 volt ceramic caps. I ordered some of those. So that's going to be my next step, is to change out those. I ordered another problem with my reset circuit. It says if it's not under here, which are all these transistors, which I had just shotgun changed them out because I had them. And they all looked good to begin with. I tested them with my multimeter. They all looked great. Next step would be to change out right here. We have a 70, I believe it's a 74 LS32. And then down in here we have a 74 LS04. And a couple of these caps actually go with the reset circuit as well. Because what I am getting is I will get this LED on, barely on. Like I said, it's very hard to notice even with some light shining on it that it's on. And I get zero flashes. So once again, zero flashes from my research had said it's either the PIA, the CPU, the 6810, or the reset circuit itself has an issue. Now I've gone through all the resistors on the actual reset circuit, and right now I am assuming it's either my 74 LS32 or my 7404. Putting it on my bench, it's really hard for me to tell because I've never worked on a game plan. I do have activity going into these, so I'm not 1,000% sure on what my activity should be. I know one thing, it says I should have a high coming out of my test point 4 over here, and what I have is it pulsing between high and low. I'm also supposed to have voltage over here of a steady 5 volts. And I'm supposed to have voltage coming out of pin 26 on my CPU at a steady 5 volts. And both of them, when I check them, have this crazy fluctuation going up and down and never settling on a voltage. So it's like the voltage is dancing through them. So I'm really just trying to figure out what's making that voltage crazy like that. So I've had it on the test bench, kind of going through everything. I really haven't found a solution yet with it. So I think what I'm going to continue to do is, obviously I have to wait for these to come in the mail. I didn't have any in stock. I just had standard 7404s and standard 7432s, which they pump out a little bit more voltage. and obviously that could be a problem. So I didn't even want to mess with them. I wasn't 100% sure if I could use them. After a little bit of research, it says that's a no-no. So I will not be doing that. I'm going to wait for them to come in the mail. Once I do that, I'm hoping this thing comes to life and at least give me one flash on my bench. Without having 24 volts in it, you will not get more than one flash. So if I can get one flash, that means the reset circuit, the CPU, and my PIA are good. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, at a stalemate waiting for parts as usual. All right, I will give a little bit more of an update when I get something in the mail. I can actually turn on my test bench and see if you can actually even see. It's so dim. Believe it or not, there is a light on in there. It's so hard to see. It's extremely, extremely dim. What I will do is when I get a little more progress, I will keep you up to date on what I had to do to get there. See if you can see it now. I actually had to shut it off. There you go. Now you can see it. So I'll give you an example here. I'm going to power it on and off. You'll see it does not flash more than once. It just stays on solid, and that's it. And as I'm hitting my test points, I am seeing activity. I am seeing activity with my logic probe, but it seems like a whole lot of locking up in certain spots. So once again, just kind of a trial and error with this game plan board. They say they're similar to Bally's, but I'm not seeing a huge similarity yet. I'll let you know on progress.